Do you in general or no?
Nah, I just play top golf.
Well, that's a win.
Top golf's
Top
great.
I
golf's
just
great.
try to hit it as far as I can. I got a nice little form, but I never really just went out and just
Next
tried
year
it.
you should do it.
Yeah, I think
I
you.
want to
I
try
think
though.
you'd
I
have a good
want to.
time.
I want
Trust
to,
me,
but
what we witnessed yesterday, you'd be more than fine.
Yeah.
okay, you sure?
You'd be more than
Yeah.
fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
it's like it's always,
I,
at the
there were.
at the beginning, it might be a little trouble if
All
I
you have to
don't
do though,
really
it's a
like
scramble. You
struggling.
just got to hit a few. You just got to hit a few shots. So like if you anytime you hit a good one, great. Anytime you don't, you got four other people hitting, and maybe they'll hit a good one. So you don't have to worry about it. No
Okay.
pressure.
If you can get the ball into the air,
You're better than
I
a
would
lot
say
we
you're
saw.
better than 20% of what we saw.
Yeah.
Okay, I can get the ball into that.
Yeah, yeah, then you're safe.
I can
You're
get the
fine.
ball
Yeah,
into
you're
that.
safe. You're more than
Yeah,
safe.
like a pro.
Um, this is fun out here, man. You having fun? We're learning a new defense. We've got a full complement of offensive talent to go against. It's a lot of iron sharpens iron out there, is what it appears like to us.
Exactly. It's fun, out there flying around with the guys and just building that chemistry, and just getting closer to, our real goal, and that's being the best team we can be and just being better than we was the day before,
Hmm.
and just keep building, keep building.
It's a lot louder at practice due to Jim Schwartz. He's a lot louder
Nah, yeah.
than your rookie year that we had here. So how's that been? How's this defense? And you can tell he just wants you guys to be playing fast, play fast, play fast, play fast, pre-snap, be fast, quick off the ball, all of those things. What's it been like with Jim Schwartz?
Yeah, he just try to simplify, the complex of the defense and just let us play fast. And when you play fast, you know what you're doing. That's when you can just actually just have fun and do your thing. So he just want everybody to have fun and play fast and do their job at the same time. So I'm excited about that, and I'm excited about just him being around as a leader for our defense.
Feels like, and historically he's been this. I mean, his defenses are man defenses on the back end, and when you look at what our corners are and the talent that we have there, it feels like it would fit up pretty well with what we do best.
I agree. I agree. I feel like the scheme it should fit us pretty good. It will. I'm pretty sure it will fit us very well. It's going to be a lot of bump and run, a lot of man coverage, and a lot of pressure on the quarterback. So hopefully we get some air throws and a lot of takeaways, and just play fun and play fast like how you want us to.
Yeah.
Exactly. Get those picks. Now, we talked about the change with Jim Schwartz, but in your room, continuity with Brandon Lynch. And I know he's thrilled to have the opportunity to be the DB coach and coach the corners. How has that been for him? And you guys seem to have a lot of fun out there with him as well.
Oh man, he's a great coach. He remind me of this good coach of mine, Terrell Buckley.
Uh-huh.
He recruited me in high school and all the way into college. He was just kind of like a father figure, and that's how I see B Lynch. He's younger. He's younger, probably the same age as my father, but I see him as like a father figure, as an uncle, and just how his approach to the game is the day-to-day life. It's just a blessing to be around a guy like that. He keep you grounded and get you to see the bigger picture of everything.
He's never had a bad day. I mean, the guy's
Never.
No, always.
always happy, always smiling, and always positive, right?
Yeah.
But he'll get
Always
in. He'll
positive.
get it. He'll get in you. Though,
Nah,
if
he
needs
will.
to. Yeah.
At the end of the day, he has a job, and he gonna,
Yeah.
just bring the best out of us, and I love that about him.
MJ, you think about year 2 for you, year 3 for Greg. Denzel obviously into the second contract. We mentioned AJ and the overall talent in your room, in the cornerback room. Do you feel like there are the pieces there for this to be a really, really special group, and one of the better ones in the league?
Most definitely, easily. We just have to, stay dialed in and just keep the main goal, and just keep getting better every day. Honestly, when I look at this group, I feel like it's so much talent, and it's kind of crazy. We're all in one room together, but I feel like a lot of guys, we really don't even know what we have yet.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't tapped into that full potential, but I feel like we headed that way, and it's gonna be exciting for year 2 and just being around the secondary again
Yeah.
this time around. So
What's Juan Thornhill brought to the back end of this defense? A guy who's been in Super Bowls, who's won Super Bowls, who's used to winning. As he came here and said, "Yeah, we're gonna win. That's
Yeah.
what I do."
leadership, communication, uh, just all around. Just being the football player. What it takes. He just want to bring us along and just kind of give us his insight on how we should play this game, and there's certain things that we might not know, or things that that might help us be better on the defense. So
We talked about playing more man, as you mentioned in Jim Schwartz's game. Well, we've got a lot of great man route runners on offense, so you guys are going to get. I think it's going to be a great training camp and a lot of fun with you guys working against them because all of a sudden we saw it today, and it's probably a
A lot different than last year. I hit routes today that was wow for a touchdown in the red zone. Marquise Goodwin is a very professional receiver who can fly, and get down the field. And so when you haven't even seen Amari out there in those 7-on-7s yet.
Exactly,
This is at DPJ. This is a pretty stout receiver room now, and so I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And have you noticed a difference from a year ago already with Deshaun and now these guys?
Yeah, we stacked this year, man, and it's fun just to go out there and compete against those guys because they're going to make us better and we're going to make them better at the end of the day, and just keep building that chemistry. And by the time Sunday come, we going against the best in the world. So when the opponent line up against us, it's just it's time to eat now, because we do this every day of the week,
This defense gets a gift a couple of weeks ago, Zadarius Smith. We felt very confident about where we were before that, and then all of a sudden that guy gets dropped in, and you go, the best friend of a secondary is its pass rush, and that is an enormous upgrade here in the last couple of weeks. What did you make of that? When did you hear about it? How excited were you about that?
I was excited. I seen he had 10 sacks last year, 3-time All-Pro. Pro Bowl, 3-time Pro Bowl. That's a blessing for me and the other guys. That's a blessing, man. Because we just compliment each other. We make him the quarterback hold the ball. He get a sack. He get pressure. We get INTs. And we don't have to cover as long. So that's a blessing just to have another. We got plenty of guys. That's great pass rushers. But to add another one, that's good for us.
There are 5 guys in the NFL, 5, that have had double-digit sacks in 3 of the last 4 seasons.
He one of them.
2 of them are Cleveland Browns.
That's
Miles and Zadarius Smith.
So that works out.
That's pretty good. And you talk about getting your hands on the ball, and I'll remember your preseason debut down in Jacksonville. You got that pick down there, and throughout the season, you got your hands on you had a lot of passes defense.
Yeah,
didn't get that pick yet.
Yeah, a lot of balls that should have been picked too. So
that's right. Well, listen, now you have an opportunity where if you guys are playing more, as you mentioned, bump and run, you're closer to the receivers. The ball's got to come out quick. As a corner, does that give you more opportunities in your mind to get your hands on the ball? Because I know you and Greg are probably competing who's going to snag one first. He had that one in Houston. I'm not going to say he didn't catch it or anything like that. But,
I had one in Houston too. So I had one in Houston I didn't grab too. But yeah, me and Greg, we always competing. So we're going to see who get that first one. Whoever get that first one, we got a little prize. Okay. We might come out and let everybody know what the prize is later. But, yeah.
Okay, so there is an established.
It's been discussed.
Yeah,
okay,
most definitely.
Yes,
most definitely.
It's been discussed.
Yes,
in terms of getting most of the guys back together, and do you sense, anytime we talk to the players or front office, it does feel like there is urgency is the wrong word, but it does feel like a sense talking to you players like it's time to go. Like this team's ready to go. We're ready to go contend, ready to be in the mix. You got to prove it. Talk's cheap, right? You got to
talk is cheap.
Can't really answer that until the fall, but it does feel like there's an attitude of this isn't a building towards something. This is we are something.
Exactly. I mean, how we coming in? We know the talent we had last year. We added a lot of great pieces, and I just feel like we just feel the urgency. We have to win right now, and that's our goal. We want to win, and that's what we're gonna do. So. We just got to keep working and keep working towards our goal, getting better every day, and just building brick by brick a day. So,
what's the biggest difference for you? A year ago, this would have been your 5th OTA ever. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't have played a game in the NFL. You would have just come out of a rookie mini camp, and probably your head was probably spinning a little bit.
Exactly. That's my biggest difference. I would say the game is just slowed down, and I feel more comfortable. And I just feel like I know how to go into this season, prepare for my second year and what I should do, to be successful and things I have to do. So
year goes quick, doesn't it?
Yeah, that year was so fast. I remember when I was going to college 2019 as a freshman, and it's like I'm my second year in the league now already. So time flies.
And how is the preparation for you? Last year in OTAs, I don't know how many reps you got at this point, against the ones.
The first day they put me out there with the ones. And I remember, I remember I was kind of, I was disappointed in myself, and I text my coach. Actually, I text B. Lynch, and I was just like, my bad, coach, about today. You won't have to worry about that tomorrow. I was just so mad, and just I didn't perform how I wanted to. But, that just put a fire under me and just made me work harder.
Yeah, and you had an excellent rookie season. The only two rookies that had more pass breakups last year than you were Sauce Gardner and Wolin in Seattle. So you an excellent rookie season, and now to build on that, and now you're getting all these reps, and you're getting all the reps against Deshaun, who is at a different level than he was a year ago at this time.
I
And
definitely agree.
That's going to really prepare you, don't you think?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
sir.
going to be fun.
This offense is, they're ready. They're flying, fast, great routes.
Do you notice a
Great
difference?
quarterback.
Do you notice a difference in the scheme from last year? You don't have to tell us what the differences are, but do you notice as a defender the differences?
Yes. Yes. I don't want to say too much, but yes, completely.
Okay. It's different.
Completely.
A big smile with that.
Yeah,
Big smile.
Completely.
Hey, man, thanks for stopping by the
Yes.
undisclosed location. Don't tell
Don't tell anybody
where
where
this
this
is.
Oh, yeah, I love
Yeah.
this
We
location.
keep this
You're
quiet.
welcome
If I can come out and just
Anytime.
hang out, all right, let me know.
Yeah,
Oh,
we get you the
anytime.
code anytime
Yeah,
you want.
anytime
but
you
just
Okay.
on the down low.
Mum's the
Yes,
word.
sir. All right, thank you.
MJ Emerson joining
Have a
us
good
here
day.
live at the undisclosed location. We're off and running on a First Friday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. And there's a new way to cheer on your Cleveland Browns, the help of your favorite four-legged companion, Barking Backers, presented by Milkbone, the Browns' newest club for pet parents worldwide. Sign up today at barkingbackers.com. Barking Backers, the fan club for dogs. Time for your hot topics of the day, presented by Vivid Seats. 99 days to the start of the NFL regular season. The countdown is on. No, it is off. Don't speed me through summer, Gibby. You always want to get me to. You always want to skip summer.
I am not. I am desperately trying not to. However,
we cannot have that, Gibbe.
when it pops up in my timeline yesterday, we never got to it because obviously we were trying not to die via the driving range or people approaching us. It was the 100-day mark, and I'm like, I'm not ready for that at all.
No.
No.
It's going to come too quick is
No.
the reality. And for us, even quicker because of the Hoff.
Yeah, much
So-
quicker.
Yeah, that's the way that thing's going to go. I am not at all looking forward to any of it, my friend. You love it, but I also love summer. By the way, it does appear that we've just kind of skipped over spring, which is kind of the case here.
Yeah, it goes from
We're
awful to
we're
pretty
like
good.
90 on everything. It feels like.
Oh,
The
yeah.
rest of this week, high 80s. I'll be down in Columbus tomorrow for the Memorial Tournament. I cannot recall ever 3 days, the first 3 days of that tournament in the 90s. Sunday is supposed to be in the low 80s and no rain.
Well, the one time I was there, rainy.
Yeah, that's always.
Always.
Book it. Like
Yeah.
that's what that tournament has. It has rain and there's none of it. So it's just going to be hot and it's going to be all of those things. But let's take our time getting through this summer, kids. It's going to go very, very quickly for all of us. You had a little vacation last week.
I
Good to have you
did,
back, my
yeah.
friend.
Down-
Nice golden. You got a nice base, a nice golden hue to you.
Yeah, a little bit.
I would
A
say,
little
I like
tan
it.
out there, which was nice. Puerto Vallarta was great. It was one of the better, more enjoyable weeks I've been on, and great values down there. A lot of great
Yeah,
values.
you were blowing my mind with that stuff
Yeah,
yesterday.
it's
The
just-
values. I can't believe it. Values galore.
Values galore. There was good times galore. Everything you wanted was there in spades, and it was awesome. One of the experiences we did, which it was $120 a person,
Okay.
which is a solid.
That's very
It's
reasonable.
it's a solid figure, but yeah,
I
also
think it's
reasonable.
very reasonable for any sort of resort.
So what we
excursion.
what we got for that, and if anybody ever goes down to Puerto Vallarta, you got to use Vallarta Adventures. That's where you book your excursions, and if you book in advance, you usually can get 20% off of 2, or you can get 3 for the price of 2, depending
Yeah.
on how you want to do it, or maybe it's 30% off of 2. So we booked these ones in advance, and they had one that we had never seen before, and so we did one that we always do, which is you go out basically to a private beach and get to hang out there all day and eat, drink, and be merry. And they've got water slides and zip lines and all kinds of fun stuff. They also have, though, unfortunately, out there at this time, they said to me, this is on the first excursion, I'll get to the second one in a second. They said, we got the zip line, we got the jellyfish. Some jellyfish are out this time of year, so if you do the zip line into the water, that's at your own.
Yeah.
At your own
Good
risk.
warning.
And I said, okay. I was like, cool, no problem. I've watched 50 people in a row go down the zip line, and people go down the water slide, and everybody seems to be having a grand old time.
Sure.
I haven't seen anybody who
Yeah, he's
looks
safe.
in the pangs of jellyfish,
Yeah.
torture. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm in. And in my mind, when somebody says that to me, I'm going to be eyes peeled.
Yeah.
Look out for
Alert.
the man of wars. You don't want to see a plastic bag floating on the water. Bad news. That's not a plastic bag or a real jellyfish. I'm eyes peeled. So I come down the zip line, have a great time, get in the water. It was a great dismount. Felt great about it. Swimming back to the pier, and I'm like, I don't see anything. Great. Perfect. I'm home free. I get out of the pier, and I start walking, and immediately I feel like every inch of my body is on fire.
Oh, no.
Everywhere.
Oh, no.
On fire. I run, and I find
Do
a
you
water
know
jug.
what this is?
At this point, not yet. I mean,
So
I'm
you
guessing
just know it's a hot, it feels burning, a burning sensation.
on my whole body.
But you don't know, you've never had this happen to you before. It's a
Correct.
unique experience. Okay.
Yeah. And
Continue.
it's
Like stinging.
like death by a million pinpricks. So they're a little centralized. It's not like one thing happened and then
Yeah.
it's literally as if I've been attacked
Sure.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So I run over and I see a jug of ice water. I fill up a little cup and I just start like throwing ice water on my body.
Yep.
The bartender is dying laughing.
Of course.
He goes, "Here, this is what you need." And he's like, "Don't use this ice water." Out of the sink he gives, and then this fills up a pitcher. And I'm like dumping this on, psh, 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 everywhere. And finally it goes away. And he goes, "Oh, the jellyfish got you." I'm like, "I didn't see a jellyfish. And I didn't
Yeah.
feel a jellyfish." He goes, "They're microscopic."
Oh, my gosh.
So it was like,
that needs to be in the brochure.
yes, right. So
So
basically,
in other words, if you go down this, you will be stung.
100%, like no doubt.
That is a very different tail than.
So I was basically swimming
You were swimming
in
amongst
the waters.
microscopic jellyfish.
Yeah, that were all just
That were everywhere.
everywhere.
If you ride this zip line, you will be stung by a jellyfish, in which case you have a very different answer at the
I'm
start
not
of
riding the
day.
zip line. It
No.
wasn't that great.
You're taking it off. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll sit this one out.
So anyway, so I thought that was funny. And apparently
That's
so that's not the case when we go in March. Those jellyfish are not there. Apparently there's like a 2-week period, and this happened to be in that
Okay.
2-week period where they're all there, which is amazing to me though, because we were in the water literally kind of around a rock that jutted out. There was a cove where I went
Yeah.
in with the jellyfish, and then around that rock we were swimming, no problem, no jellyfish.
Yeah.
Feels like these are connected waterways. I don't know.
Feels like they would be. Yeah.
But nonetheless.
That's amazing.
So, but the cool one we went on, and credit to Miss K, she does all of. She likes to advance plan, and we've been there so many times. We know the restaurant. So if anybody ever goes there, you want peepees for the margaritas and the fajitas we talked about the yesterday.
Yep.
Cafe des Artistes is as good a restaurant as you'll eat at on the planet. Period. Full
Yep.
stop. I think it is as fine dining as it gets, and you don't pay normal fine dining prices, which is even better.
What a win.
It's a huge win. So we go, and this other one she saw. So for $120 a person, we go and we board a yacht,
Okay.
a big, beautiful yacht.
Yep.
There were 10 other people on the yacht,
Okay.
and you then go cruise. This is at 2 p.m. You get on. You cruise around the Bay of Banderas, and obviously all you can drink on this yacht. You end up going around, and all of a sudden you come up on this private beach
Okay.
that is set with tables overlooking, like water's rushing up, near your feet, overlooking this beautiful bay. And there was a chef, a 5-star chef there, and he made you a 5-course meal that each course was paired with a different, started with a cocktail with the first app and then got down to wines with each course, finished with a dessert wine, and the food was unreal. So you're eating on the beach
So great.
as if you're like on below deck. It was like a below deck experience. And then you ate there. You were there for probably 2 hours, and then you had a 2-hour cruise home that ended with you literally cruising into the setting sun in the Pacific
Sheesh.
Ocean with your drinks, and you were home by 8. So it was 6 hours. For $20 an hour a person, it was like the meal was drinks were
20,
way more than that.
Yeah.
And then we got on top of that, 4 hours of
A
yachting
cruise and a yachting.
on a yacht.
Good job on a Miss K.
Oh, they said that, and it ends during the rainy season. So we're hoping that obviously next time we go back it goes there. But just great people, great city.
What's
beautiful.
your flight time?
Travel's the only tough part. I was very envious of the people who are coming from California, because it's just like a 3-hour hop down from California, or from Scottsdale. It's like 2.5.
Yeah.
Because it's west coast of Mexico.
How far from Santa Fe for future planning purposes?
Same.
Okay, perfect.
It's on 3 nonstop.
Yeah.
Easy,
All right,
easy
very
peasy.
good, very good.
But from here, you can go through Dallas, so it's like kind of 3 to Dallas and then 3 there. We went to Atlanta, so it's the 2 to Atlanta and then 4 there.
Yep.
So it's a good full day of travel both ways.
Yeah.
Like we
It's
left
not
here.
that different than when we go to California, though, honestly.
That's 5, but at least that's one flight.
No, it's not. Not if you go to Palm Springs.
Oh, right. So that'd be 2.
Yeah, it's 2.
Yeah, right.
It's about the same.
So
It's
we
2.5.
We left 7 a.m. and we were on the beach by 1.
Yeah, which is 4 your time. So
Yeah.
it's you did the full day, but you get there and you get the time back, so that's a win.
Oh, baby.
The only negative is the wait is coming back. You get bombed.
So came back. We left at I think 2 and got home at midnight.
Midnight. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a great trip, great sun, and we had perfect weather every single day. It was amazing. I never wore a pair of pants in the whole entire week.
No,
Not one.
I don't do that here.
The ironic part, I know you don't. The ironic
I'm
part
over
was it would be hotter at like 8 o'clock when the sun had set than it was at any point during the day.
That's odd.
I don't get it.
It's very odd. Did I tell you? You know what I'm going to do now? I've decided I'm going to enact a new policy that I've come up with this year. So I've decided that kids in Ohio don't do anything for like the last 3 weeks of school. It's just nonsense because all the tests happen like
Couldn't
early
agree more.
May.
Let
They
them
don't
out.
do anything. Yes, it should be mandated that they should be done before Memorial Day. But the other thing I'm going to do is that third week in May. That is a wonderful time to vacation because I'm just going to pull them. First of all, very few people are vacationing at that time of year, Probably empty where you were, I'm guessing.
So we're normally you have to call up the morning before at 9
Yeah.
a.m. to reserve your palapa, and if you want to get the front row, like you've got to
Sure.
call at 9 and
course.
be the one that they
Of
happen
course.
to get. I mean, there's 40 in the front row, but you got to you got to be lucky. And
Yeah.
we had. I'd say that the palapas were 20% capacity.
See-
it's normally 100% when we go in
Yeah,
March.
yeah, and even places I've been before, like 30A, like Sandestin and
Yeah.
Watercolor and all of that. Like they're all the deals you want. Just please come.
Yeah.
And the weather's better then than it is in June or July. I was telling the blonde, I'm like, you know what? Like this is the plan. Like I'm just gonna pull them. We're gonna go like third week in May. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm
Perfect.
doing it.
That's what we
They're
did.
not doing
20th,
anything.
27th. Yeah.
Kids aren't doing
So-
anything. They've had 18 field days.
This thing worked out so well for us in two senses. Number one, I think one of the worst feelings in the world is when you take a vacation from Cleveland in, call it February, March even, and you go to this tropical location and you're sitting in the sun and it's awesome. And the worst feeling in the world happens when your plane comes back through the clouds and you look down and you're like,
Still cloudy.
it could be cloudy, it could be snow on the ground, it's just like we're landing back in
You have a bunker in mentality. Once you're in, you just want to put nose to the grindstone and just get through it.
yes.
See, I need some
No,
sun
but I like that.
in
But
one of
coming
those.
back, it's worth
tough.
it. It's the
tough.
week's worth it.
Yeah,
And then on
but
the plus side is
the
you've
landing
left.
is tough.
You've left crud weather for great weather.
Yeah.
Here we actually left. It turned out last week when we were gone was great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So we left great weather, but now we've come back to great weather. So it's
Yeah.
like we haven't missed. You're not even. Great to be back.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was definitely easier to come back knowing
No
you were coming
question.
back to the sun and all that. And it actually turned out going Saturday, having Sunday, and then Memorial Day.
Oh, you little buffer.
Yeah, a little vacation from the
like that.
vacation.
I like that. I like what you did there. Yeah, that's going to be my new policy.
I think it's a good move.
Kids aren't doing anything. They're doing
Saturday
nothing.
to Saturday the Saturday after you come home is leading into Memorial Day. I feel like
That's a win. Yep. The Beamsy's
yeah, but get ready for the 20th, 27th, or
2024. We're
yeah,
gonna be off.
21st to 28th. Yeah,
Beamsy
2024.
says to me this morning, he goes, because they have 2 days of school left, and he goes, Dad, are you on summer vacation too? No.
No, just Zegura.
No. There are no summer
It's
vacations.
unbelievable, this guy.
He goes, well, you should. I said, you're right. You're right. We should.
In Europe,
They do. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, take 2 months. Enjoy
we're
yourself.
shut down. Yeah,
Live a little bit.
the holiday. We're on holiday.
We're on holiday. That's it.
I'd love to be on holiday. Seems like it's especially here.
Yeah.
Here,
Here's
you
the
need
thing
it.
that people don't realize too about like what we've chosen to do, which is a lot of fun, right? This is a fun way to make a living and to live a life.
Yes.
Is to do a job like this.
Fortunate.
It's very cool and very fun. I never take it for granted. But it is also very specific in terms of where when you have to be accountable. In terms of all fall. Like
July 22nd, it is over.
You're done. You're done. You're
See
locked
you in 2024.
Yeah, you guys are even more restrictive than I am, but even myself, like I'm very restricted when it comes to that time of year. Like there's a responsibility to it. You have
And you're
to do those
Saturday,
shows.
Sunday loaded.
I'm Saturday, Sunday loaded.
Like
yeah,
you're 7.
It's
yeah.
both days are locked in, and they have to be that way. My cousin, who I adore, is getting married in Hilton Head, September 23rd. That's Ohio State, Notre Dame.
Oops.
That's a tough go. Like, can I fly in? I mean, like, how do you even do that? So those are things that you miss out on that other people. It's
Sure.
fine, but like so when you got to get a year's worth of vacation in from from middle of January until middle of July.
Next year from
And
like
they're-
middle of February until middle of July.
You said it, and you also got the
Nice
combine
try.
in there. You've
Right.
got free agency. You've got minicamp.
Hold on,
You've got
hold
the
on.
draft. You've got
Combine's last week of February. Free agency second week of March.
right. Yeah.
Next
It's
year
tough.
we got the cruise. By the way, most surprising text
Well,
I've ever received.
You have the cruise. Beau and I will be back here.
I could see Cruz and Beau.
Are we getting an invite if you were a betting man?
Oh no, but
Thank you.
also I don't know that I'd want one. I've done those
My
things.
dad said if I am actually working the cruise that he would go.
Yeah, because I think he's going to be on scholarship. He
I was
thinks
gonna
he's on
say,
scholarship.
think
you are
that's true.
you are
Yes.
footing that bill. Congratulations. You
He
might
is
be going compliments of
absolutely-
the team. Your dad is going compliments of
There
you.
is no question he thinks that
Oh,
you're
yeah.
that that's a comp trip.
What?
With all we
Yeah.
know about Pedro?
Look
No
at
way.
the
There's
look on your face.
100.
You
I'm
actually-
incredulous.
Wait,
Or
do
did
you
you just
actually
realize
believe
it?
this?
No. Did you just realize it now? Like just now?
I
it's
still
hitting
don't
you.
believe it.
Just now it's hitting you, though. What's happened?
That
I need to
is
reread
live
this. I
on
need
the
to-
stream.
I need to
and
reread the
I
exact
love
Yeah,
verbiage
every
of this text.
No,
minute.
that's
He and I knew right away.
Right away.
He said, this is what he said. You should be on a Browns cruise. We would go.
and.
Okay.
I mean,
I don't
just
believe
use
it.
the
I don't
track
believe it.
record.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Oh,
yeah,
Pedro's
Pedro.
thinks
No
that's
way.
comped.
No
You
way.
think that's comped?
Oh,
No,
it
I
is.
think he
It
wants
is
to cruise the
compliments
Caribbean.
of his son.
No, I don't even
Bahamas
know
and
if he.
Jamaica.
I don't know that he necessarily thinks like Z's picking it up. I think he probably thinks, how hard could it be for you to get a comp cabin for me and the lovely Sue?
I might be able to get him a cabin.
No, that's what I'm saying. But that's all of it.
He
That's
could
how the cruises
fly
work.
himself there, I would imagine.
Well, that part, yeah. So you'd have to get the flight down to wherever. But he's banking on you getting him the comp cabin.
all right, we'll see.
That's what's assumed.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Now that I've said it out loud, though, you have to acknowledge that that's probably the way that it's being thought.
You've brought something that had not previously occurred to me, and now it feels
Feels like
it doesn't feel wrong.
It feels like I don't know. It feels like a lock.
It doesn't feel wrong. What you're saying?
Yesterday we were out, and we'll take a break, then we'll get into everything you saw today at Minicamp.
Yeah.
But I did there was a lot of chatter around DeAndre Hopkins, and Deshaun addressed it directly and said that he's been in contact with D-Hop, and there's a lot of talk about who could be or who could not be in on it. There's a lot of silly season right now in terms of that stuff. Teams being linked, and obviously the fact that Deshaun's here makes a lot of sense that we would be linked as well. What do you make of the DeAndre Hopkins what's out there? We talked about this a little bit yesterday. It does feel like the Beckham deal, or maybe this was the day before, the Beckham deal.
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday. But complicates
No doubt.
Hopkins without question.
So the Ravens giving Odell Beckham $15 million.
That's right.
Coming off of not playing in a season,
Right.
and his second ACL, and really, last time I think he was at 1,000 yards was 2019 with us, and he just went over, and really hasn't been dominant since 2016. I think was a shocker to a lot of people, and I think that it has put, and probably justifiably so, DeAndre Hopkins in a position where he's not going to take any less than that.
Correct.
Because why would he?
Yeah.
He's been more recently an All-Pro, more recently Pro Bowler, more recently 1,000-yard seasons, all of it. So I think that complicated his value. And in fact, had the Beckham deal, and I've talked to a few people who I think that I would trust their opinion or the veracity of their information on something like this, who had said, had the Beckham deal not gotten done in that fashion, that DeAndre Hopkins would have been traded already to either the Bills or the Chiefs, that would have already happened. So clearly there is a very complicating factor that is coming and emanating from that deal. So why hasn't DeAndre Hopkins signed yet? And I'll go back to what I said 2 seconds ago. Because DeAndre Hopkins believes he should be he should outpace that Odell Beckham deal, which, again, as I said, I think makes perfect sense from his standpoint and what he's accomplished in the league. Now, on the flip side of that, you have in DeAndre Hopkins a guy who was never an explosive play, big play down the field type of a guy, who is now a little bit older. Came in the league in 2013. He's going to be 31 years old this season. You look at his yards per catch the last 4 years, 11.2, 12.2, 13.6, 11.2. Early in his career, he's at 15, 15.9, 14, 12.2, 14.4 with 13 touchdowns with Deshaun Watson there. He was 3-time first-team All-Pro, all with Deshaun Watson in Houston. He has not, in DeAndre Hopkins, last 2 seasons. What would your guess his stats are the last 2 seasons, Gibbe? DeAndre Hopkins, last 2 seasons in Arizona. 21. Give me just catches, yards,
I think
touchdowns.
you got to give him games played because he's missed games.
I was going to say
All right, 10 games in 2021.
And in 22?
9 games.
I'm going to say 125 catches.
In 10
Total?
games?
In total.
Total into 2 years?
Yeah.
125 catches? Okay, we're at 106.
All right. I'm going to say 1,600 yards.
All right, Gibby. I just want to say to you that I told you he averaged 11 yards a catch. I gave you the yards per catch, and then I told you, no, he actually had 106 catches, and Gibby just bumped him up to 1,600 yards, which will be 16 yards a catch. So you're a little high on the yards. At 11 touchdowns, I'll give it to you. 11 touchdowns last year,
Yeah,
only 3 last year.
Public school.
3 last year. In 21, he had 42, 572, and 8. Last year, 64, 717, and 3. His last big season of yards was 2020 with Deshaun Watson when he went over 1,400 yards in that season. And his last season of double-digit touchdowns was actually 2 years before that, 2015. DeAndre Hopkins.
If you put his last 2 seasons together, oh no, it works. It's 19 games, not
19.
16. Yes, it's 19. Yeah.
But even so in 19 games, he's just over 1,000 yards. Mm-hmm. The 11 touchdowns. Is DeAndre Hopkins still a very good player? Absolutely. And the reason that DeAndre Hopkins is still available, because no team I think out there is willing at this point to say, for somebody who is excellent in the red zone, more of a zone beater, not much of a man separator.
Yep.
That's a big price to pay. Do I think the Browns will kick the tires and say, hey, do you want to come here at a very reduced rate? I think they would do that. I think you do your due diligence on everybody. But the notion that I think that the Browns would be the ones who are going to pay more than what Beckham got to the Ravens, I think is incorrect. And I'll tell you, I think there are a lot of people around the league that were very surprised by that Ravens deal. In fact, who thought it was very un-Ravens-like to make a deal like that they did for Odell Beckham.
My perception of it was that Lamar Jackson wanted it.
A little bit of a panic.
And they did it. Like they weren't going to not.
Yes.
They had to do it. So I think that's why it happened. I think the other thing, and this is something that's, we're seeing this because we're just out here, but like Goodwin's pretty impressive. And we've already done Elijah Moore for 2. And you already have Amari and DPJ and Tillman. Like you have a full room. I stand by what I said yesterday.
Yep.
If you can get Hopkins and it works, you are better. There's no way you're not better.
Correct.
You're better for it, but you're not in a position of desperation in any way.
Couldn't agree more. I think that's said perfectly. The team that I think might be a dark horse team to watch come out of this, I've thought the Cowboys would be a great fit for him.
Yeah.
The team that I think might be a little bit of a dark horse, if you think about it, would be the Jets. Because the Jets could
Who do they have?
They could cut Corey Davis.
Okay.
And that would save them $10 million.
Yep.
You'd have Garrett Wilson.
Yep.
You would have Alan Lazard, who followed from Green Bay. You could put DeAndre Hopkins kind of in the slot, and Lazard and Hardman could switch when you want to have more speed on the field. But I think he's kind of a great right now 1A to a speedy. That's why I think he'd be a great complement to CeeDee Lamb to work the underneath stuff for the Dallas Cowboys. I think look, as you said it perfectly, we would be better adding DeAndre Hopkins to this roster. Do I think that we're going to go and spend a lot of money to bring DeAndre Hopkins in? I don't, unless
thing or not a thing.
Go.
Field Yates. 6 teams are picking up cap space this Friday as a result of prior post-June 1st designated releases.
$10 million.
Miami, 13.6.
Mm-hmm. He wouldn't be bad there either, honestly, because you have Tyreek Hill and you have Waddle just absolutely flying around the field. And then if you had DeAndre Hopkins as like that third guy who's just going to eat up everything underneath and dominate, that's not a bad landing spot.
Browns obviously at 10.9.
Yep.
Cowboys at 10.9.
I said the Cowboys, I think, are in play.
The other one's not. Broncos 3.75. Commanders 4 million. Cardinals 3.2.
So it's obviously not the Cardinals.
So to me, I like what you said about Dallas.
Dallas makes all the sense.
That would be a home run, and I could see Jera being excited about that.
Yeah, because I think it makes a lot of sense for what that team is going to be on offense. Again, welcome him with open arms, weapons galore. That's what we're looking for here. 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first-team All-Pro. But if I were to ask people and say, do you think, let's say that we're spending, let's go on a theoretical, that we're spending that $11 million.
Yeah.
In my mind, I would rather have that go towards, a veteran stud defensive tackle than I would rather have that go to.
Are any of those guys still out there? We talked about this a little bit.
That's a fair question.
I don't think there's anybody left. It's like,
but even to rent Ndamukong Suh, who I think in a sub-package role knows Jim Schwartz, knows this defense, would be. And by the way, we're going to have to spend a lot of money next year
Oh, yeah.
So carrying that $10 million forward, that's actually a nice thing for us to have to help us next year. This is not money that must be spent. And we're already spending. You wanted the Browns to spend money. They are spending money. But that is also something that can be used to help when things are going to change a little bit for this cap going forward.
This is from the Bleacher Report. Best remaining 2023 NFL free agents: 1, DeAndre Hopkins; 2, Leonard Floyd; 3, Frank Clark; 4, Yannick Ngakoue.
Ends.
Yep, all ends. Obviously, Clowney, Dalton Risner, who's a guard; Theodore is a free agent; Ndamukong Suh. Christian Peterson.
Ndamukong Suh is one who makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but he's not signing anytime soon.
No.
Robbie Gould's out there, your boy. Marcus Peters.
Robbie Gould. Isn't Matthew Ioannidis still out there? Is he on that list?
They're only showing me the top 10 here right now.
Got it.
So, I mean, there's still players out there.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely still some. I just think that ultimately that could be where they end up going. Could be just a little bit of a different attack with that. And then I do think you have to plan for next year. And you're going to have some big decisions to make. You've got a lot of the core guys already under contract, and your quarterback salary is going to balloon. You're going to probably restructure, Miles and clear some cap next year as well. But the Browns have the ability to create money now. I do think that they like their room. And I think anybody who went out there at OTAs, if you're reading, anybody who was out there, and I'll kind of give my take in a little bit whenever we decide to get to that point, but this wide receiver room and this offense is much different than it was a year ago. I mean, significantly so.
Yes.
Significantly so. Marquise Goodwin might be one of the best $1 million signings in the league this year, even for what he gives you. And it's not going to be – I'm not saying he's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver. I think he's going to be a 300, maybe 400-yard receiver who's going to make a handful of plays each week, but also run routes that make plays for other people available, in 10 to 20 snaps a game. I don't know what the exact number is going to be, but that's exactly what he was brought here for, and he's going to do that. Elijah Moore is so fun to watch, and he looks uncoverable. You're not going to be able to man us. And if you're sitting in zones, we're going to pick you apart. This is our offense right now. It has the look. Watson's throwing a great ball, and we'll talk about that. But they've upgraded this wide receiver room. Again, would we be better with DeAndre Hopkins just plopped in that room?
Yeah.
Yes, but it has to make financial sense. He is not a receiver who would come to us without some limitations in his skill set and what he would bring to the table.
He's not someone who's going to come for – I think someone will give him money. I don't think it's going to be a situation where he's coming on a vet minimum to play. Like Beckham did get 15. He'll get that somewhere. There will be a team that's going to do that. And then it just comes down to what's most important to DeAndre Hopkins.
Yep.
Does he want that? Like I said yesterday when we were out at the golf course, man, if I were him, I would go to Kansas City and try and catch 90 balls from Patrick Mahomes.
100%.
He's made a lot of money. There's not 90 balls to be caught here.
Agreed.
There's not.
No.
It's a very different role here than it would be. You'd be part of an arsenal of weapons, but you're not. I mean, if you think about it, in Kansas City, they've got all of these young, exciting guys who are ready to burst, and you've got Kelsey.
Yes.
So he could do all of those things, and I think Buffalo would be similar, but Kansas City would be the home run.
Kansas City feels like the home run, and what's interesting though, if somebody would pay that, wouldn't they have done it already? Would there have been restructuring and moves? And I'll go back to what was said to me, which is that had the Odell Beckham contract not happened with the Ravens, that he would have been traded already. So that makes me feel in some ways that perhaps those teams are not as interested at the number that DeAndre is valuing himself at, because it would be done already. So you look at, here's the thing, the Jets have the space to do it right now. We were talking Chiefs. The Chiefs are $2 million over the cap right now. So they don't have any effective cap space right now. And the Bills are also $1 million over the cap effectively right now. So those are teams that if they were going to figure out a way to make something like that happen, there are going to be other things that need to happen in order to be able to get those done. Trying
Agreed.
to look, and I'm looking at where's the easy money to come from the Chiefs. Mike Dana, I don't know who that is. They could cut Mike Dana and save $3 million. Maybe
What
should
do they
use
have? What room do they have?
They're over. They're over the cap.
They got to bounce some people to make it work.
Yeah, and there isn't a lot of just easy money for them to come across.
I also don't know if I don't know if they need him. You know?
Yeah,
Like you're right. The Jets are the no-brainer, easy. Dallas would be the other one that's just a layup. Lions? Waiting
and
on.
they have Amon-Ra
He's
St.
a different
Brown.
player, obviously, but
The Lions could do it.
yeah.
It's an interesting
They've
situation.
talked about
in that-
Patriots, but I don't know why he'd ever want a part of that. Cowboys would be the one because they're getting free. They're going to be able to get to a point where they could get there.
Yes, the Cowboys would be just fine, and I think he makes sense given their personnel. That's the one that actually, from everything, makes sense. Cowboys could do it right now if they wanted to. They're at $10 million under the cap, and they're going to get much more.
Yeah, it's another 10-5 or something like that they're going to pick up tomorrow. So they'll be 20,
Right? Have they?
21.
And because they have released Zeke already, right?
I think, isn't that –
Is that post June 1st?
I think
that
that's
their
the
money?
That
Clowney.
might be.
That might be their money.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, I think he fits in very well with what they've got. You'd have, Brandon Cooks, CeeDee Lamb, and you'd have DeAndre Hopkins. Now the question is, would they be willing to eat a little bit of money on Michael Gallup, which they would? $5 million would be dead, if they wanted to free up a little bit of space there. But that makes all the sense in the world to me. You got two guys who can fly, one guy who could do everything, and then you'd have Hopkins working everything else. I mean, that would be a full day.
That feels like the no-brainer. Yeah, and they'd quickly go to they would cement themselves in that top 3 in the NFC.
Right, which is
with that play.
That's where you got to be.
You got to be. Yeah, absolutely. All right, coming up, second hour, we will get into some of the things Z saw today at the OTAs. It's a lot of impressive stuff circulating on social, so we'll have some fun with that coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Browns fans, we've reached the final round of the new dog logo contest. Make sure and let your voice be heard. Vote for your favorite one. And you can vote once per day. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/dog logo to cast your vote. I saw BT switched teams, Browns Therapy. That was a big deal on the social that he switched teams. He went from the dark helmet dog to the dog that we refer to as bottom left.
Yes.
Or was it top
bottom
left? Bottom left versus
I did
bottom
too.
right.
I did too.
You came over.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I saw it on the gear, that's what flipped for me.
The gear, and then now
That
that we're
flipped.
at the final two, it's I think that there's a chance for a legacy to be created by the creator of that.
Agreed.
It would I would relish that opportunity for him.
Same.
So let's make
Same.
it happen.
Yeah. I think it looks great.
It does look great on gear, and it looks better with orange than the other one does.
Yeah, and I saw I noticed the it's like a Henley, right? We're both kind of I guess that's what they call it. It was like a short sleeve Henley, like a T-shirt with buttons.
Sure.
And so MJ was in kind of the long sleeve, like dry fit, kind of heavier than dry fit T-shirt that Nike puts out. And in years past, we have those, except they have like the helmet.
Yep.
And this one looks like this year now they have like the elf as like on that. And I was as he was talking, I'm thinking, that dog would look pretty cool on there.
Look great.
That would
beautiful,
look cool.
right?
And
there.
the other thing that I think we forget about the dog logo is, number one, kids love it. Like my kids love it.
Yep.
But the other thing that like players love it.
Yes.
Like I remember when Jarvis was here, like that's what he wanted was a dog.
Yeah.
Somewhere like give us a dog to put on the stuff.
I think because they're used to having their collegiate mascots that have
That aren't
typically
a
something
human.
right that are something. It's just not a helmet.
Right.
It's something standard.
Yeah.
They got
Yeah.
And he was a Mississippi State, so he was a Bulldog.
Sure.
Right? MJ.
Yeah. And we have all those SEC guys, they're Tigers and all of that. Yeah, it's all.
What's
it's all
Ole
easy.
Miss?
Rebels.
Rebels.
Yeah.
The Rebels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They tried at one point. They tried getting rid of. I don't even know if it's still there. They used to have like Colonel Reb was like the
Right.
the guy who looked like a caricature from
Yes, very much. So.
the Hanna-Barbera or something
Yes.
like that. Hanna-Barbera Business
Absolutely.
School. And there was something where they were doing like Land Shark or something like that. They were trying to do like trying to find another. And at one point they were trying to do a bear. Like they'd floated a bunch of things to get away from it, but like
What's wrong with?
they're worried about the Civil War connotations.
Tony the Land Shark is the mascot
So did
of
that
the
happen?
Ole Miss Rebels, the collegiate athletic teams of the University of Mississippi. The anthropomorphic shark replaced Rebel the Black Bear as the official mascot in 2018. It went from Colonel Reb to the Rebel Black Bear to now
A Land Shark.
I don't get it.
Yeah, tough go. By and large, in this state, we're not great at naming teams. Just to be honest, you know what I mean? You go through like Buckeye's a poisonous nut of a tree. You know what I mean? Like it's not great.
Not great.
It looks great. It's an unbelievable
Yeah.
branding and uniform, and because they've won, it's all works. We're named after a guy. The Paul Brown named the Bengals in homage to Massillon, and then basically just copied our uniforms initially and just wrote Bengals on the helmet.
Yeah.
Like that was it. The Columbus Crew are black and gold, and they're named after because there was always construction in Columbus. The Blue Jackets, the NHL team down in Columbus, is because most of the Civil War uniforms were made in Ohio, and many of the great generals obviously were from Ohio. But upon launch, they had like a bee, and everybody thought. I remember thinking like, are they just being named after an insect? Is there a type of hornet in Ohio that I'm unaware of?
It's blue.
That's blue?
Never seen it.
Never seen
I'd
something
love
like
to.
that. I'd love to. I thought that's nuts.
By the way, down in Puerto Vallarta, I did see. Apparently, it's a rare bird. It was while we were there. The blue-footed booby or booty. The blue-footed booty was down there.
Both win.
You sure?
Both galore win.
But either way,
So that's they both win in that sense.
it was the booty, blue-footed booty.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah,
I have a little information for you, by the way, on
Go.
this land shark.
Go ahead.
So at Ole Miss, land shark is a term that was first adopted by the Rebel football team's defensive unit. As part of that identity, defensive players celebrate big plays by putting a hand to their forehead in the shape of a shark fin. A battle cry of fins up also contributes to the player's persona. Roots of it date back to 2008 when they returned to the national province with a 9-4 record and a win over number 7 Texas Tech in the Cotton Bowl. Leading the charge was a great defense. but the term land shark originated from senior linebacker Tony Feen, an Army veteran who served a 1-year tour in the Iraq War before arriving in Oxford. He was a 2-year letterman after transferring from Scottsdale, Arizona Community College. He was a 2008 recipient of the Pat Tillman Award by the Military Order of the Purple Heart. He passed away tragically in 2009, but his legacy at Ole Miss continues through the land shark. With the popularity of the hand gesture, Ole Miss fans and student athletes from other sports embraced the spirit of the land shark. In October 2017, the university announced that land shark would be the official mascot of the Ole Miss Rebels, named in tribute to Tony Fine. Tony the Land Shark was unveiled August of 2018, has been a fixture at all Rebel sporting events since. So they still call themselves the Rebels.
Yeah.
Their mascot is the land shark.
I like the look of the guy. He looks good.
He does look good. There's a couple pictures of him from COVID where he was wearing a mask where he did not look nearly as good.
Not quite as formidable without the teeth. Yeah, that ain't it. So, all right. Well, there you go.
Okay.
All right. What did you see today at minicamp?
So, a couple things. First thing that stood out to me from a defensive standpoint, Jim Schwartz's presence is easily felt.
Yeah.
And he is loud, but to the point, it's not blustery. He's loud when he needs to be loud, but he has complete command, and I feel like respect of that defensive unit. They are going to play fast. We didn't have some of the guys out there today that, you want to see, and our linebackers are still coming back. Tok and Awok are still on the side, but Jacob Phillips had a nice day, got a pick off of a tipped ball. The other thing jumped out to me was our corner situation and seeing Denzel Ward take some snaps in the nickel. And so you'd have Greg outside, MJ outside, and Denzel in the nickel at times. Now, Greg also was in the nickel at times, but that was something new and something that I certainly noticed. We didn't have some of the big names up front. No Miles, no Dalvin Tomlinson, no Zadarius Smith. But you'd like to see those guys back here, or certainly soon. We got the mandatory minicamp next week, which I think will be the real first look at this whole squad.
Yeah.
And so that was on the defensive side. But then offensively, it's simple, man. Marquise Goodwin can fly. He caught 2 bombs today of about 40 to 60 yards from Deshaun Watson. He can fly and he can catch.
Yes.
He made one of them was a great catch.
Important,
it's an important second part. As I joked with somebody on the staff, I said, man, Goodwin can fly. He goes, and catch. So I said, yeah, important. I said, we haven't had that here in quite some time.
Yeah.
So
that was a bomb that Deshaun hit him with. It looked like the ball looked like it was 50+ in the air.
And Deshaun's deep balls are on
They're
point.
so
they
gorgeous.
Are beautiful, beautiful deep balls. And then Elijah Moore ran one of the best routes I've ever seen live. And I know that sounds like hyperbole, but in my mind, it was not. He comes up as though he's going to be running a speed out, chops his feet, almost comes to a complete stop like he's going out, and then gets back to full speed in one step and ran a slant where he left the corner in another area code.
Yeah.
And Deshaun put it right on him for a touchdown in the red zone where I was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. And even some of the players on both sides of the ball were like, wow.
Yeah.
So those were kind of the big takeaways. A lot of ball handling work. A lot of, we saw him run an option. We saw a lot of inside play action or read option looks, and then, with orbit motion behind it where he's turning and maybe he's giving the ball there and keeping it, bootlegs, getting him out in space. I thought that he looked really good. Dobbs threw a couple nice balls today. And Dorian Thompson-Robinson, I think, is already made a real impression, and I know this from talking to a few people and then even just watching him. He's made a real impression with his command, his leadership, and then he's a natural thrower of the football. He really is, and on top of being a tremendous athlete. So I think that quarterback room is in very, very good hands with Deshaun. Obviously, as our starter, Dobbs is the backup, and then I think DTR is going to end up being that third guy. He's obviously competing with Kellen Mond, but he was impressive. But it's the speed of Goodwin. DPJ made a couple of nice contested catches as he always does. The speed of Goodwin, though, and what that's going to open up, and then the route running of Elijah Moore was just – that route was – it reminded me the last time I saw a route that felt that nasty, and you're going to remember this, was Odell before he got hurt when he came out and hit that stop and the guy skidded back and fell on his butt, and he came back and was just that sharpness, that acceleration out of it, and that setup it was
well, if he can go –
he can go.
No, but I mean, if he when it's live bullets.
Sure.
If he can go, then that's a lot of it. I mean, that's what it's going to be. And this is fun stuff. It's fun to see it all out there and see it spinning a little bit, and the what it's all tangible. The things you're talking about, you feel the difference of it. You felt it with Bubba Ventrone and just kind of the juice that he has. And you mentioned Schwartz. These are much louder practices in general than what we've had in the past couple of years.
It's not Greg loud.
No, and not to say that you have to be one way to win and one way or not. It's just different.
It's correct.
Doesn't mean that the other way wouldn't have worked. That or that it's a fault of the people who weren't here or no longer here. It's not that at all. It's just that, it's just different. It's a very different feel.
I think that when you look at our coaching staff as a whole now, you have, a real juice guy in Bubba Ventrone.
Yep.
And somebody who has made his living as an undrafted free agent who scratched and clawed and was able to be in the league for a decade, right? As a special teams guy, inspiring that unit. I think that he is somebody who is not nearly going to be as technical, say, with Cade, and say, you know how to hit the ball. You're here because you know how to kick the ball. We'll watch if you get away from your normal stuff, but kick the ball the way you kick the ball.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of freeing, I think, for Cade, and not so technical about everything. And then, you've got Jim Schwartz, someone who has done it. His resume more than speaks for itself, who is an authoritative figure, who's a tremendous talker, a very persuasive talker, and motivator. And then I think they balance the way that Kevin coaches, Coach Stefanski. Kevin is very cerebral, unemotional in many ways. Now, he's not afraid to get in people's butts, but unemotional in that these are – and a great schematic genius. I mean, the fact of the matter is we've been a top 10 offense under him without the talent that we have now. And so now you have an opportunity for that to really jump up. But I think just even the way listening to practice and the way it goes, you kind of you get everything. You get great teaching, you get great energy, and you get great kind of passion. And it felt that felt different to me. I missed the OTAs last week, obviously, down in Mexico. So to get to see that was very good. And then, you've got there are a lot of veteran pros on this team. Marquise Goodwin is a guy that, yes, he's older. He can still fly, but he's a pro. And he was just talking and coaching Jalen Darden up on his releases, and then the next play, Jalen Darden goes and put a release out where he looked like Steve Smith with that and he was gone. And you could hear Goodwin woofing, and then the corner said something back, and then Goodwin was like, he's shook. He's like, Coach, get that guy out of here. This guy's shook already. And then they're on the side. They're like, give us 19. He goes, you want 19? Like, God, come and get me. I'm going to run by you again. I already ran by you twice today. He's like, what do you want? We want 19. Come get him. So I liked it. It had there's some good vibes out there today.
That's fun.
Yeah.
And it's an impressive looking group, and it's an impressive looking group today without 99, 95, 75, 24, 85. Like, put all of those in the mix.
And what's that? What number is Dalvin? 94. Yeah, and Dalvin as well. But it still looked
94.
It looked.
I'm pretty sure.
I said that relatively confidently.
I liked it.
I feel like that's 94.
Jacob Phillips had a pick today.
Yeah, off of a tip pass.
Yep.
He can never stay healthy, man.
He can stay healthy.
He makes plays. He's incredibly productive when he's healthy.
When he plays, he delivers. He absolutely does. Do you want to do the quick succession thoughts now? You want to take a break?
Oh, sure.
There's
one other thing.
One more thing. I got to get 5 breaks in.
Oh, yeah, we got to take
one last thing real fast.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What I think is really fun in the 7-on-7s, and I've never seen this with the Browns before. Normally 7-on-7, you don't even get your real offensive line. You get nobody out there. You get somebody just snapping the quarterback ball. They're doing 7-on-7 with a center and 2 guards. They obviously don't block anybody, but just I think maybe to put those bodies there in the middle because you don't have the perfect line of view.
Right.
And then they have the 2 edge rushers out there who sprint to bags that are set 5 yards behind the quarterback.
Okay.
And they just run there, and they're in a race to knock over those dummies. So they're not affecting Deshaun per se, but he's dealing with motion and a blur going by him, and he's dealing with his offensive line, moving around. So I like that. I thought that was a pretty cool thing to see.
Yeah, I like that as well. We'll go around the league, get you some thoughts on the succession finale as well. And we're going to the podium for
bottom of the hour, Marquise Goodwin.
Great. He's been a star of OTAs for sure. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. For the last time with the Renew Home Exteriors Siding and Roofing products. Beau here for the Renew Home Exteriors team. Don't spend all day with high-pressure sales guys. The team at Renew won't waste your day with hours of negotiating. Renew offers an upfront, fair price to make your project easy. This month, take advantage of pre-pandemic pricing plus no interest or payments for 24 months. Renew Home Exteriors, superior products, superior service. Visit RenewEstimate.com for more. All right, before we get to the succession thing, let's do quickly around the league. It's pretty quiet. Most of it's surrounding Hopkins. But the Jimmy G thing is pretty interesting, how he basically signed off on, look, I'm not going to pass a physical. And so here's the best that they can do there. They are to me, they're like a franchise to Nowhereville.
Yep.
I don't know what they're doing. I don't understand it. I didn't understand the signing of him. I thought if any time that there was a chance to if there was a chance to go in and tank for it, this would be it. Like,
it felt like he got rid of Carr, you got Garoppolo. I think Jimmy G would have been, like, if you're taking Atlanta, for example, had they made a more serious first-round pick, you put him in that Arthur Smith offense that's based off of a lot of the same principles that he ran there with the 49ers. I think that would have been a good fit.
Tampa Bay.
Tampa would have been fine. Although I
mean, that stuff's bad.
It's what
those videos are stunning.
I love sending you guys those videos.
It's one of the, he was here, he was our guy. It's a life comes at you fast situation, for sure. But also there were times when he was really good here.
Really good.
Yeah.
In 2020?
In 2020, he was really good. And the second half of his rookie year, he was really good. And to think that now it's to that point, like when we made the move to Watson, it's like, yeah, no brainer, of course,
yes.
For sure, franchise quarterback. But at that time, did I think that Baker would be a starter in the league again? Yeah, for sure. I didn't think that there'd be something where he would be.
He's on 3 teams in less than a calendar year.
I never would have thought that.
No.
I mean, I thought for sure that there would be another opportunity. I knew that we all kind of knew that it was heading downhill.
Yes.
Just with not just the on-field, but just all of it. And to think that it's that point where it's like him and Kyle Trask overthrowing guys on seam routes, little simple seam pop passes on air by 15 yards is crazy. So I don't know.
It's not a pretty. I mean, Mike Evans and Godwin are probably like, whoa.
Yeah. What did we just? What are we doing here?
What are you? How
it's
are
from
you
Tom
selling
Brady.
tickets?
Like you're coming from Tom Brady.
Why don't you reserve your
That's hard enough.
season ticket deposits for next year?
Jeez. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how.
And I don't know how tradable. Like, can you trade Evans and Godwin and enter into the quarterback foray in the draft next year? I don't know how tradable those contracts are.
I mean, Evans was in the Johnny Manziel draft. That was 2014. So he's
getting
older.
up. So he's got to be 30. He's got to be 31. So
he's
they're
an
aging.
older fella, and I think he. I don't know that he will be, but he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, what he's done in terms of his production, he's never been a first team All Pro, which is amazing. But he's had 1,000 yards every single year that he's been in the league. Every single year. It's a record.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever done that. I think 10.
I wouldn't have had that.
Nobody's ever started their career with 9 straight 1,000-yard seasons before.
Man, I would not have had that every year was 1,000. I knew he'd been good.
Every year.
Goodwin is significant. He's only 26.
Yeah, Goodwin's younger.
He has had a major injury.
He has.
Yeah. 1,000 the last 2 years, 1333 and 19.
Yeah, he was awesome.
That was with Jameis. Was 19. So when he was second team All Pro. So
let me see. I'm gonna just try to pull up real fast.
If you're the Raiders, should you have just brought Carr back so you wouldn't have had to eat that contract?
that felt personal though, right? Like it was like McDaniels wanted a reset.
Yeah, but at what cost? Like,
oh, dude. I mean their drafts. Like their first and second round picks, the last 5-6 years have just
under Mayock.
Yeah, and Gruden, and who knows who was pulling the strings on all that.
Correct.
But yeah.
Oh yeah, they could. By the way, a trade of Mike Evans post June 1st saves them $14.5 million this year, and he has all just void years left. So he's a free agent after this year.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean he's got 3 void seasons because they obviously changed.
Well,
his
they
contract.
should. They should just
So
do
could,
that and
they
get
could,
something back, get an asset, and
they could get out of his very easy. I don't think Godwin they can, but they could trade. They could trade him. Yeah, Godwin just signed his new deal. They could get out of Godwin next year, after next year. He's still pretty loaded. If they traded him, they could save a little bit more. They just have dead money for the next 5 years with him.
yeah.
So I mean, they could do it. They could do it all, but it would make more sense.
Yeah.
That's who they would
To do Evans with that.
Yeah.
So, what did you think? Season finale, series finale, Succession.
I thought it was a masterpiece. Mm-hmm. I really did. I thought it was incredibly well done. I thought they did a very good job they hit a lull in the middle of the season, maybe 2 or 3 episodes after the passing of Logan, where I was like, all right, am I going to care?
Yeah.
And they did a great job of making you care. I thought it was phenomenally acted. I thought it wasn't predictable, even though it was predictable, but they led you down so far with, the meal fit for a king.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
all right, this is how it is going to end. Kendall's going to get his opportunity. They're going to keep it in the family. And then for Shiv, too, her name is Shiv. Mm-hmm. Shiv him again. I thought it was brilliant. And I thought that just none of them are likable. I don't think Logan ever intended, even though he had quote unquote said to all 3 of them that they were going to take over. I don't think he ever intended for any of them to take over. Honestly,
I think he was maybe genuine on Shiv at the end of the first season into the second, because she elevated to the point where she was pretty good in the political sphere for a while there, and felt like someone of consequence, and then she just blew it. You blew it, boy.
Blew it.
But she was the only one I think that he ever seriously considered at any point, because maybe Kendall before he botched the Walter stuff, maybe then he considered him a little bit, but once he botched that was it.
I also found Wamsgams is the only guy that I liked, and as the show went on, and he was true to himself throughout.
Yeah,
I thought he basically wanted to suckle, from power, and would do whatever he could to be as powerful and as relevant as he could, and play the game, honestly, ultimately at the end, better than anyone.
Yeah, but I don't know that he won.
Oh, I think he won.
He won that day, but he also signed up to be a yes man for a guy who's going to ride him, a pain sponge for a guy who's going to ride him like Seabiscuit for the rest of his time until he's not useful anymore. And then now he's wealth, which is all he cared about, so he's got all of that, but he's going to have that anyway.
Well,
I mean, quite a bit.
I think, though, that
his win was walking into that boardroom and having all those people come up and shake his hand and be a big shot, and him placing a sticker on Greg's head. That's his win. That was his
I don't know
win.
that Shiv gets in the car with him without that win.
Yeah, but she also enabled the whole win. She allowed for it. Her vote, because she could have gone the other way. And in the end...
But I think that was her decision at the end.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that when Kendall put his feet on the desk, it's done.
That was it.
At that point, her and Roman were like, and she really was like, no, this guy's out of control. He's bringing in, now Stewie's going to get a say in all of this stuff. Like, no, we're not having this. I thought the only real winner was Roman. I think he won. I think his relief ordering the martini and the wry smile of when he says we're BS, we're
right.
nothing, and he's right. They always were. They were never serious people. And he's having a martini, which was Jerry's drink or whatever, and he's having a good time. And he's like, you know what?
He's going to be a rich
I
playboy.
got $2 billion.
Yes.
I don't have to deal with all these idiots anymore. I don't have to act like I care about any of this. If you go back to the beginning of the series, he didn't care about it then.
No.
He said, I don't want any part of this.
Correct.
So I think he won. I think Khan won. Khan got his apartment, his artifacts. He wins nicely.
Well, they have the 2-week itch.
Yeah.
That's tough for Khan.
I thought it was a masterpiece. I thought start to finish it was a unbelievable storytelling. For me, I think it'll go down as an all-time HBO show.
Yes.
I think that to me it'll be almost Wire-esque in that there's not a miss anywhere, and even the Wire in the last season isn't as buttoned up as it is in the previous 4. The other thing that I think is going to help this show long term is it's really fun.
It is fun.
You can hop back in and watch an episode. If you're bored or whatever, you're looking for an hour, you can hop back in and watch an hour, and you're going to get a chuckle. Like you're not watching Breaking Bad again, man.
No.
That is too heavy.
Too heavy.
Thrones too heavy. Like I don't need that in my life. Like this, a fun hour here
It
and
is
there.
a fun hour.
I mean, that's the. So I think its lifespan will be very, very good.
So how about this thing I read? That the names are always so important. When they chose some of the names,
There was something that went around on the on social around that at the end of last week.
on Wom's games.
Yeah, with
So
the
it's
unassisted
the
triple play guy.
triple play.
So there was a TikTok that it was a woman on TikTok who explained their names, that surnames are important, and she dropped that on Friday, and everyone's like, "Wow, really?" And then it was. And then the names did matter, like Shiv, all of it. It all mattered. I think this is the one thing I think people are getting wrong about it. Last thing I'll say about it. Everyone is enamored with like the Jeremy Strong performance, and they keep going back to that. When I think of it, I think of the dad.
Number one
is what I think of. I think of Brian Cox and Logan Roy at the top. That's where, when I think of the greatness of the show, that's the performance and that's the figure I think of. People always want to put like Kendall Roy in like the Tony Soprano. I think they have it wrong. I think that it's the dad.
Yes,
the dad is the Titan. The dad is
it's like the Christmas Story,
and so much so that when they killed him off early, they had to bring Skarsgård in because they needed somebody else with gravity to be in those scenes.
Yes, I couldn't agree more.
That's the
rest are
guy.
ropes off the Goodyear blimp.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
It's like Christmas Story. Everybody talks about Ralphie, and Ralphie's fine and great, but the dad's the
guy.
Dad's the show.
The dad's the show.
The dad's the show.
Agree.
So two things, because I enjoy. I've talked about this with Miss Kay and talked to some of my buddies, and I love talking about the show with you. I've never seen people fight so hard to get out of a sale which was way overvalued, great for everybody there, was going to make them $2 billion a piece, roughly like 1.9. And all of a sudden they're like, no, we can't do it. Now, Kendall, I understand it was his, as he said at the end, it was his dream, desire, and that's the only whole
identity.
His identity was to run the company.
Correct.
So then why make the deal in the first place?
Right.
Okay, just to prove that you could make a deal?
Yep. Which, by the way, he couldn't have done without Shiv. Shiv got the deal done.
100%.
Yeah.
So that the fact that we're making a life and death situation out of where if we don't actually stop the deal, we each get checks for $1.9 billion. That's a hard concept to get around, right? For me. And then the other thing was Shiv had felt so betrayed by Tom, calls him and is like, look, would you like to have a relationship? He's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And you could tell at that point she was unhappy. Then she finds out it's him. In fact, I think if the CEO was anybody other than Wamsgams, she probably lets the deal go through. Now, maybe it changes when she sees Kendall put her feet up.
Yeah.
But I think that it being Tom.
It was personal.
Yes.
Yep.
And then she realized the only way that she could, because she's out with Mattson, the only way she can say, power adjacent is through Tom.
Yeah.
Because she'll never usurp Kendall.
No.
Now, the interesting is her whole dynamic with Tom was built on the fact that she had more power and Tom needed her and was able to be a lapdog. And now she, in some ways, needs Tom. I mean, their handholding and it was still gross and it was still so on brand. But I thought that was such an interesting thing. And then, of course, it's done for TV that in that moment she's going to then do it there and they're going to go have that dramatic fight in the boardroom and all of that. But it was just... It kept you on the edge of your seat. You know what's going to happen. And I loved the thing that would have pissed me off the most is if Greg triumphed. Like, Greg was so despicable. Yeah. I loved him going down at the end.
Yes. And I think that the most important line was said in the second episode of this season. I love you, but you're not serious people. None of them were ever serious people.
Roman knew it, though.
And he knew it. Well, he took the realization at the end. Then
Yes.
he really knew it.
He knew it.
But those idiots picked the president in the 2 episodes
that
before.
was-
That was just insanity. We'll head to the podium coming up next. Cleveland Browns Daily brought to you by Bally Bet. Coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Lawyers dedicated to every client every day. Call 1-800-ELK Ohio. Elk and Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. And now let's head to the podium and Marquise Goodwin.
First of all, I just want to give all honest to God. Thankful for.
You guys are down.
Shout out to the Cleveland Browns.
So, again, you guys showed off that speed a little bit today on a couple of deep balls. I mean, what's that connection like with Deshaun on this?
Connection was elite today, man. Just grateful for the opportunity. Deshaun is electric. You see that arm? He got God's arm for sure.
We were trying to decide on that last week. Did you get defeated?
What did the ref say?
I don't know. I didn't see. Yeah. You can say
Hey, I just seen the ref doing this, so I think I was in.
There you go.
Marquise, you're over 30 years old now. How much speed have you lost since your prime as an athlete?
I think I'm pretty much in my prime, so I don't think I lost any speed. It's kind of like fine wine. You just get better with time.
How do you do that?
Taking care of my body, doing little things, spending time with my family, being intentional with my time and my habits. And it's definitely working out. Got another opportunity to play football this year. I'm blessed.
What are some of the little things you think have helped you kind of be able to maintain your speed and some of your strengths and improve on them even as you get older?
Strengths or things that I've felt that have helped me maintain my speed, training in the off season, going hard on the track. I'm a track and field athlete, 2012 Olympian for people who don't know. So that's a huge background of mine. I love spending time on the track. In the off season, I volunteer with the Texas track team. I volunteer coach, so I spend a lot of time out there.
How do you look at this as an opportunity with a new team?
Another opportunity just to stack some wins, man. Build a culture here that is about winning and create a change. After making the playoffs a few years ago, headed right back on the way up. So just trying to do my part, do my job.
What did you run at in the Olympics when you were on the Olympics?
Long jump. That's my specialty event. For anybody that doesn't know what long jump is, you basically take a sprint all the way about 45 meters to the board. You can't jump over the board. It has to be behind the board. You jump as far as you can. It's measured from your furthest point back to the front of the board.
And what was your best?
27 feet 9 inches, 8.45 meters.
Marquise, what was developing your connection with Deshaun? What has that been like so far for you, and what's that process like for you as a receiver, getting to work with a new quarterback and kind of learn each other's tendencies?
It's really humbling to work with somebody as elite as Deshaun. I don't really have to guess or wonder if is he gonna throw it far enough? Is he gonna throw it? I look in the air and I'm like, dang, I gotta run. So when you have somebody who is as dedicated and as focused and as experienced as he is, elite, it just makes my job easier. All I have to do is run.
Kind of off that, Marquise, what is the biggest thing about those deep balls? Is it known where, like when Watson releases it, like what is the biggest thing that you guys need to get on the same page just strictly on the deep passes?
Running.
Just the running.
And making the play, catching. Just being at the right place at the right time and making the catch. That's the most important part that I feel like people lose sight on. Yeah, I can run a route. I can do whatever. I can make the DB fall. But if I drop the ball, it was for no reason. So, got to catch the ball.
How much was the Deshaun factor impacting your decision to come here?
Huge factor. I mean, we have the same agent. I've thrown with him before. I just haven't been a free agent at the time and at the right time to be able to try to mesh it up and play with him. So this worked out. I mean, it was a great opportunity. It couldn't be any better.
Does it seem like 11 years have passed since you were an Olympian?
Nah, that's crazy to think. Yeah, it has been 11 years. You aging me, man.
So it doesn't seem like that much time has passed?
It doesn't really. I mean, because I'm always in season. I go from football to track to football. Even since I've been in the NFL, my first 3 or 4 years, I was crossing between the two. And then 2016 or 2015 and 16 I did as well. And then 2020, so it's kind of like I get lost in time.
Did Deshaun do any recruiting to get you here?
He didn't have to. His talent and his leadership, it speaks for itself. So you see these chills? You can't fake energy, right? That's real talk.
So going back to the long jump, we talk to track guys, it's always like the 100, the 200, the sprinters. But how does that kind of help your speed that you have to, like you said, you gotta build up that speed and make the jump? How does that help you kind of help your speed?
So I want you to run and jump at half speed, see how far you go, then run and jump at full speed. You have to be fast to jump far. And it correlates by me being able to put my foot down hard and break off of a route. At long jump, I'm running full speed and I have to transition and put my foot down. So I'm training these muscles the same way, to start and stop, and which is huge in football.
Your keys to kind of maintain both of these sports the way you have and excel, at football and still doing your track stuff. Like, what about you as a person? Like, I mean, it takes a special person to be able to do that. So what about you has allowed you to kind of maintain both those sports the way you have?
Thank you for asking. I got a sister who has never walked a day in her life. She was born with cerebral palsy. I am 10 months older than she is, and that's my motivation. If I'd be doing her a disservice if I were to not go and maximize in my sport ability. Like, if I'm not out running, and if I'm not out jumping, if I'm not out catching footballs, and I'm just sitting around being lazy or complaining, then I'm doing her a disservice. A quick story. I woke up one day in the middle of the night, probably 3:30, 4 in the morning, and I just hear somebody in the room. And I go around the corner, I'm listening, and my sister's like, God, just please, please. And I just hear her saying, please, please. I'm like, what? She's like, please just let me feel what it feels like to walk. I just want my feet to touch the ground. You hear that? You ain't gonna be motivated? Come on.
What is her name, Marquise?
Deja, D-E-J-A.
When did that happen?
I was in probably middle school. I was in middle school at the time, and over the course of time, I've heard it a couple years. And so when I got drafted by the Bills, my third year, she came and lived with me. So did my brother. My brother helped take care of her. And one day, I picked her up to walk in front of the mirror. And she was like, no, I was showing her a picture on my phone. I'm like, who is this? She was like, that's mama. And I'm like, no, who is this? It was a picture of her. She didn't know. And I'm like, how you not know who this is? And she's like, I don't know. So she was like, I don't see myself. She don't see herself in the mirror. She can't walk. I bought a big ass mirror, put it up, and I picked her up, and I'm just weeping. I'm bawling because my sister is at the time like 25 and had never seen herself in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? So it adds perspective for me. I have no excuses. I'm humbled to be here. I'm just super grateful.
What's your brother's name, too? Is it just the
Ricky.
three of you?
No, I'm the oldest of 12. Ricky, R-I-C-K-E-Y.
Oldest of 12?
Yeah.
How old is the youngest?
13. Journey. That's my baby. She's like my daughter.
Marquise, at what point when you were young did you realize that you had the capability to shoot fast?
Racing in the neighborhood, just racing people, grown people, whoever wanted to race for money. I was very motivated by that because I grew up in an impoverished neighborhood, so you throw some dollars out, we gonna get it. I'm gonna win it. And that's just always been a part of my hustle.
How early in your life did you start doing that?
I was 7 when I started racing, and then I got in organized sports when I turned 9. Been running and playing football ever since.
What was the last time you did a long jump?
Did a long jump. I think my celebration last year versus the LA Chargers.
Huh. So did you win the state championship in high school in the long jump?
I have the high school national record.
30 seconds.
Sorry, you've got your own motivation, but you got your coaches out here talking you through things. What is it like to have them? How impactful can that be to your game when they're out there holding you guys accountable, getting you, coaching you through it?
It's always great to have a coach, somebody you can lean on, somebody that is not afraid to help you grow. And I think it's essential.
10.
Because a lot of people have egos, and we feel like we've arrived sometimes, so a coach kind of helps facilitate you keeping you hungry. And I love it. Shout out to CO.
Man, he's
You're
impressive. He is so impressive.
Yes.
So much more to come. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, there you go, kids. Oh, by the way, real quick review. I know we got to run. There was no NHL or no NBA last night, and so I popped onto the first one of two, apparently, American Gladiators 30 for 30.
Yeah, I saw the trailer of that. Awesome.
Holy cow, I had no clue. Like, that was something that just on, like, Sunday afternoons or whatever in the summer, whenever that thing aired.
The show?
Yeah.
I loved American
No, I did too, but like I loved it.
I
But it was like
when it aired, yeah.
I know it was in the early '90s. I know when I was a
Yes.
kid, but I have no idea. Like I didn't understand anything behind it.
I don't know. I don't know anything. I'm going into it
Check
blind.
it out. You'll like it. You'll like it. I mean,
mean-
you won't. It wouldn't be a 30 for 30 if it wasn't tragedy, but like it's crazy what was going on. Absolutely crazy. Check it out if you find it. You'd like it. The next level is coming up next. Thanks for listening, everybody. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.